Hello, everyone. I am here with Joe Vitale. We're going over a video right now. So we were contacted by email, and actually in the comment section too of my YouTube video involving basically the video that we posted, I think a week or two ago. It was 2 weeks ago, right? Um, where we were willing to give our raw footage for any peer review from anyone else that wants to see the footage, see if it's faked or if they have an actual explanation for anything. So basically, I sent the raw footage to the YouTube channel called I'm a Spooky Goose. It's a funny name. You guys should subscribe. This guy, we believe, debunked the chair phenomena. And
Which is great. I mean,
yeah,
we want the truth.
yep. So basically, what we were trying to search for originally, which we couldn't at the time, was figured out by I'm a Spooky Goose. And so now that this was figured out, we're gonna go watch and react to his video, and go. He's gonna go over what he thought. Originally, when he first messaged us, we thought he was saying something else, but like we originally thought he was saying like the rocking chair was stuck on the wall to where it was facing frontwards, and then the back of it was on against the wall. That's what we originally were saying, but that doesn't make any
Right.
sense to us because it basically goes forward first, not back first. But basically, he was trying to say the opposite, so we didn't understand that originally. So uh, he sent us another email basically saying no, he actually believes it was going the other way, and he saw the problem in the physics of what we were trying to say, and so he sent another email and clarified, and there we go. We come to a conclusion. This is how it should be in the paranormal, by the way.
Right.
Uh, we're trying to just figure out answers. All footage and evidence should be open to peer review by other people. So here's one of those exact situations.
And the emails that we were sending back and forth, very respectful, which was really cool. Um, there were no arguments or anything like that. There was that misunderstanding, like Matt was saying, about the positioning of the chair. But I mean,
But
like,
what's he basically the second email he sent, he rewrote what he was trying to say, and then we understood after that. We're like, okay, that makes sense. So then I actually let me just watch his video first, and then I'll show you what I went through on the footage myself, and found out kind of pretty much the same thing he did. It's just that I didn't want to just take someone's word for it, so I wanted to check myself too, and he's correct. So this footage is debunked, in my opinion. There's still that extremely small 1% chance. Oh, maybe you got stuck on the way back, but I don't think so. I think this is a debunk. So I think this is a 99% chance of a debunk. So here's what you guys. Oh, here we're just going to show you guys what we have seen in his video because he doesn't have that much subscribers, guys. He only has 32 subscribers. I'm gonna put his channel link in the description box. You guys should go subscribe. He's he does a great job in the animation and also when it comes to his voiceovers. So I definitely recommend this guy, and he did a really good job here. So let's share the screen. This is his channel. This is the video.
The Harrisville Haunting is a paranormal documentary directed by Matt Benton and executive produced by Joe Vitale, released in 2022. It focuses on the Real Conjuring House and documents the events that occur when a group, including Matt and Joe, investigate the house's paranormal reputation. A compelling piece of physical evidence captured during their stay was the unexplained movement of this rocking chair.
I feel like I should do a tarot reading.
The rocking chair.
It's moving. It's moving.
Okay, jump around. Okay, yes, it was moving. It was fucking moving. I caught a little bit.
Hold on. I got it.
I caught a little bit of it.
The boards don't go all the way through there.
Okay, back up, guys. Let's back up.
I gotta try.
Give some space for a bit. We'll try to.
For years, this event has remained unexplained, and Joe has returned to the location several times in an attempt to understand what he experienced. Time out. I need to say this before we get any further into the video. I've only recently returned to watching paranormal content after a long hiatus. I'm not that aware of who the prominent and respected members of the community are, but Joe's name comes up quickly in any discussion that talks about investigators who debunk their own experiences. He wants to explain things, not to label everything as paranormal. I've watched him do this and he's good at it. I've quickly gained a lot of respect for Matt during the process of making this video as well. I've had nothing but positive experiences with him, which I'll go into further during the main video. As you watch the video, please remember that there may be a few criticisms of the investigation, but everyone is human and we all have our own thought processes. I'm hoping that the message you take away from the video is not one of negativity, but a celebration of working together to understand better. With that in mind, I invite you to come on a journey of discovery with me and figure out how that chair might have moved. It started with a hunch. What if the chair was slightly out of rotation and eventually, due to people moving in the room, it returned to where it should be? I began my search by looking for evidence of this. I took screenshots of the chair before and after the event. Due to the two pieces of footage having different zoom levels, I needed to make adjustments to line up the two screenshots. But perhaps I had something. The chair appeared to be rotated further back than it should have been before the event. Let's break it down a little further, as this can be hard to imagine in your head. This is the rocking chair at rest. Without any outside force, this is the position the chair will return to when it stops moving. This dashed line represents the offset that the chair is from its resting position. If the chair isn't moving, that offset should be 0. Before the rocking chair event happens, this is how it looks. It's rotated backwards from the point where it should rest. It should rotate forward until it gets back to its resting position due to gravity. That begs the question, what is preventing it from doing so? Before trying to answer that question, I knew there was another step I needed to take. I remembered Matt had offered to share raw footage if anyone wanted it.
We have nothing to hide. Watch the whole editing process. If you want to see the actual raw footage, just ask me and I can send you the raw footage.
I took him up on that offer and requested all the footage he had from the static camera in that room. And after a few hours, he delivered, sharing a Google Drive link with anyone who wanted to check the footage around that event from the camera. This footage took away any doubt around my shoddy Photoshop skills, and I could take a before and after screenshot that lined up perfectly by default. And still, I saw a difference in the chair's rotation. I started exploring theories that could account for this change, each based on the evidence shown in the video. If a rocking chair has a natural resting rotation, what might prevent the chair from returning to it? 1. A small stone may have become lodged under the chair's rocker. 2. The rocking chair may have more than one position it could rest in, potentially due to a defect in its rocker. 3. The end of the rocker might have become stuck on something. All three of these felt like reasonable explanations, so I began looking for additional evidence to support them. But first, I needed to know whether Matt and the team had performed any additional debunking beyond that shown in the documentary. They had stomped near the chair and had opened and closed some doors to see whether changes in pressure or vacuum might move it. But what else? I understand that in making a documentary, you can't include everything, and cuts must be made to maintain a reasonable running length. Still, I wanted to know what else happened in that room and whether it could debunk any of my theories. So, I watched the entire video surrounding the event and didn't see much beyond what was in the documentary. Bill rocks the chair back and forth a couple of times, but most of the footage is of people standing around waiting for the event to reoccur, supernaturally. This allowed me to continue exploring my theories in the knowledge that nobody had done any further debunks that night.
I just want to go over that. That's actually untrue. There is more after this that we try to do more debunking. So we jumped around a lot more and stuff like that after this event. Just couldn't get the budget. We couldn't find the natural explanation at the time until now. So just saying.
Right. And I was also a little too preoccupied with my camera because it actually stopped working. Not saying that that was a paranormal event, just it just shut off, and I'm like, oh great, because that was what
Yeah,
an hour, at least an hour or something like that.
Yeah, that footage
footage.
got corrupted too, and so I had to uncorrupt that footage, and
Right.
it's actually one of the big pains of the documentary because it also kind of affected the. Once you get a corrupted file into an editing program, sometimes it gets things a lot slower for some reason. So that's what happened with that documentary and caused a lot of pain. So, but
Right. And
yeah,
once we get through this video, there's some other things that I do want to bring up.
yeah, but we're gonna go over some more right now.
I concentrated at first on the idea that a small rock or other debris might have been trapped under the rocker, stopping it from moving forward. I started scrubbing through the documentary for evidence. The wood floor did appear to have dirt or debris on it, but I also noticed something else. The chair's rocker consisted of stubby protrusions at the front, not much space for something to get under, and lengthier ones to the rear. The other thing I saw at this point was that the rear part of the rocker was much closer to the wall than I had previously noticed. Whether this was a trick of the light, perspective, or some other illusion, it became my priority to find as much footage of the rear of the rocker and its proximity to the wall as possible. I wanted to debunk this theory because it felt outlandish. How could nobody there on the day have noticed how close it was to the wall and offered this as a rational theory of how it might have moved? There are only a few seconds of footage that offer a good look at the chair, the rocker, and the wall at an angle that shows how close they might be. From watching the documentary, I knew that one of the team, Eric Connor, had been live streaming when the rocking chair moved. Perhaps his live stream contained additional footage of how the chair was positioned. After a quick search on YouTube, I found the video and queued up the start of the rocking chair event. The footage is dark and shaky, and I didn't notice a lot the first time through. What I did hear was this.
Is it like against the wall? It couldn't.
It
even
is
rock
against the
far.
wall.
It couldn't even rock far.
How much do you see it rock?
Bill says the chair is against the wall, and Eric agrees with this. And then they take it no further. Surely this is the eureka moment where the investigators figure out a normal explanation for what happened. Sadly not. They move on without discussing it further. Instead of finding a debunk to my theory, I found corroboration. This evidence all points toward a rational explanation. At some point, someone sat in that chair. As they got out of the chair, it was accidentally pushed back and the rear of the rocker caught against the wall, while the chair was slightly rotated back off its center of gravity. Friction between the rocking chair and the wall prevented it from returning to its normal position.
So I just want to clarify from the first email, we thought he was saying basically what he's showing here, but the exact opposite. So we were thinking he was thinking that this was on top of the wall, and that's
Right.
that's when it didn't make sense of the physics to us. Just wanted to make that clear from the first email. But
Rotated in
then he did mention that this is what he meant, and that's when we were like, okay, we agree.
this position, it was only a matter of time and physics before the chair would break free. Vibrations from people walking nearby likely accelerated this process. Whilst I was satisfied that I'd found a likely explanation for the chair moving, I didn't want to just throw a video up on YouTube without asking Matt and Joe what their opinion was first. The transparency that they showed was the reason I was able to put together enough evidence to reach a conclusion after all. I typed up an email, stared at it for longer than might be healthy, and then held off for a couple of days. In that time, I would return to the email every few hours, check it over, rewrite a word or two, and then close it again. It's a problem I know I have, a mixture of procrastination and anxiety. When I did eventually send the email, it wasn't on purpose. I misclicked, and before I realized what had happened, the undo button had already gone away. There was a brief panic followed by relief. At least it was done. Matt replied promptly. It was short, positive, and politely told me I was mistaken. Joe replied a little while later, when I was still digesting Matt's email. Joe's response was lengthier, but highlighted the same problem with my logic. I realized at this point that the rough cut of the video I had sent to them did a poor job of explaining the exact situation I was trying to describe. I spent some time creating an extremely professional-looking scene in Blender to better explain it, and that did the trick. They could now understand what I was talking about. After a few emails back and forth over the space of 24 hours...
You know what's funny? I actually understood what he was talking about from just how he wrote it last time, not even by the Blender video. So
Oh, really?
I actually didn't even see the Blender video until a little bit later when I already finished my email writing him, and then I was like, oh wait, there's a link here. So I clicked the link, and then basically, yeah, it was what he was already explained in the writing. So I already understood from the writing how he basically either misspoke or we just misunderstood what he meant.
Yeah, I think it was more of misunderstanding than anything else. But
Yeah.
eventually we were like, oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. And but yeah, the Blender video was extra. He's like, we get what you mean. Now in the second one, I mean, in the second email he wrote.
We agreed that the rocker being caught on the wall was likely to be the cause of the chair moving. No drama, no anger, no negative comments. Just three people who wanted to better understand something, respectfully exchanging emails, even when we didn't immediately see eye to eye. When I set out to make this video, I knew that I wanted to reach out to Matt and Joe before I published it. I had the notion that this kind of analysis could be done without it feeling personal and without it feeling like an attack. I had no idea it would be this successful, though, and I think that's in large part due to Matt and Joe being genuine in their search for the paranormal. They provided everything necessary for someone to help them understand how the chair moved. It never felt like they were opposed to someone doing it either. So thank you, Matt and Joe. I appreciate all the time you invested providing footage, answering my emails, and for making the documentary.
And so see, this is his channel, guys. He only has 32 subscribers. Please go subscribe. He does good work, and he has a couple other videos out. So he has 3 other videos. You can watch those too. YouTube's hard, guys. So getting subscribers is ridiculously hard. Only thing I'll recommend for you, I'm a spooky ghost. Just get some more grabbing, thumbnails. And I haven't looked at your description box as much, but yeah, and then also tags and stuff like that. So to help you grow your channel, if you want your channel to get bigger, that's like how the YouTube game is. Just like description box, write a thorough description, and then also a whole bunch of tags and everything. If that's your goal to grow as a debunker, I recommend those 2 things: the thumbnails and that. I even sucked at thumbnails at one point. So not saying that these are horrible, but they're not as grabbing, is what I'm trying to say.
I still suck at them. But approach is important, and how he approached us was like beautiful, right? And we knew that he wasn't going to be like, oh, I'm gonna like destroy you or anything like that. There's no need for that anyways. But
also, I
his
wouldn't
whole
care,
approach.
to be honest, as long as they're trying to look for the proof. I don't the truth. I don't really care if you're going in a negative way or not, whatever.
Right.
It's just the truth is the truth, and that's all I care about. And also, we have other footage. I sent it to him, but I think he maybe edited the video before he got the footage, or he just didn't see the email, because I did send him the raw footage of this one. And basically, it is of us being upstairs, and I have clear footage I want to show you guys. 1 second. I'm going to get to that sequence real quick.
While you're doing that, this is something that I've talked about many times. Just because we can't debunk something doesn't mean it's paranormal. Sometimes when we debunk, we may overlook something or maybe not thought of something at that point in time. we also have to keep in mind that we can only be at these locations for a certain amount of time. So we have time against us as well. And I have gone back to the Conjuring House. The last time was just this past March. And I actually did try to position that chair the way he said it was positioned, but I could not get it to stick. It just kept like moving forward. Like it would not stick. And there were some other things with that as well. I don't think I had it turned right and positioned right for it to stick. But
the perfect situation, basically. That's all it really is. Like it's
Right.
perfect scenario. I mean, so for that to get into that position, we actually never sat in that chair. So it's been like that for before we got there. None of us touched the chair until that exact moment afterwards. Billy touched it at one point, and that's it. So one second. So let me just show what I am trying to show here. So right here, you see a scratch mark there. I noticed this when I was reviewing it. So this means it's been hitting that wall for a while. It looks like, because it's enough to keep scratching this wall for all the other people that have been sitting in this chair prior to us. And so it does look, there's physical evidence that it has been rubbing against the wall. And on top of that, the part that he actually went over in his video, I decided to do the same thing just to make sure. So basically, here's the chair. Let me move up closer. So this is the chair before it initiates, before it moves. It is slightly, you're going to notice it's slightly tilted back just a tad bit more. So this is before, after, before, after. This is both in its resting position. So it's obvious that it was slightly deviated backwards. And so this was the proof I needed right here to know that that was the situation. Because they're both in its resting position right now in both parts of this video. So before, after, before it moved, after it moved. So obviously this was previously stuck on the wall just a tad bit. And then when Billy walked over there, that's when it became loose and just rocked forward. So yeah, that's about it, guys. Is there anything else you want to say, Joe?
No, go subscribe to his channel, and I'm not disappointed at all. I've always wondered, and I've always wanted an answer, and we have the answer.
No disappointment here. I think the only annoying part is I put a documentary out on it, but it's too late now. But whatever, it's fine. But we're putting this out there. This is a good learning experience for people, though. That even I do this to my old evidence all the time. There's actually one other footage I will be going over in the future. I found the exact same camera for one of my mass footages I captured, and I want to debunk that footage. And I think it might be because of a different light color. So basically, I'll be going over that footage later in this documentary. I just had to purchase that camera because it's a weird, very crappy quality. This is when I was first starting out, guys. So it was very crappy quality. A night vision camera at the time with one of the worst camera companies, Bell and Howell. I know. So basically, I'll be putting out a video on that. If I can debunk it, I'll let you guys know. But this is what we do all the time. I debunk old footage a lot. So this isn't surprising that this happened. It's just that it didn't come to mind at the time, to be honest. And that's all. So, thank you for watching, guys. And please go subscribe to I'm a Spooky Goose. That's a funny name. I like it.
That's a great name. I'm not going to lie.
I like it. It's funny. And so, yeah, go subscribe, guys. And thank you for watching.